my headset. Hello, hello, hello. It's Adrienne, Capricorntigress of astrologylookInside.com. And we are here today with two amazing, fabulous spiritual guests. They're going to share what they do with us and get us all pumped up on this full moon of Capricorn. We got the full, super strawberry full moon in Capricorn. And I'm so excited to be doing this today with you guys on the full moon in Capricorn. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. So we've got two people. Now, I do know about this first guest because she sent over a little bit about herself. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what she said. Her name is Dusya Libo. Okay, Dusya, you got to help me with that last name.
Lebovskaya.
Lebovskaya.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. If you guys could get spelled out, it's amazing. So Dusya is a holistic life coach. And she helps current entrepreneurs who are doing 5K and helps them to increase their money mindset. And so they'll get unstuck. And I'm telling you, Dusya, there are so many spiritual entrepreneurs that need you, because myself included, we struggle with getting paid what we're worth. And that's, I'm grateful to see that you're out there targeting people like us who are struggling to get paid what we're worth, right? So I'm sure I'm not the only one who has experienced that. And I'm definitely going to want to talk to you more about that. But what she had said was that she helps clients who are struggling with toxic family issues and wanting to open a business. Like if they've been wanting to open a business for a long time, but they didn't have the courage until they started working with her. And she's been doing ancient healing modalities, and now she's expanding and, making like $1 million. But she said she grew up hearing about holistic modalities and learned how they were implemented, but she was not really interested in implementing them into her life just yet. However, she had health issues, and due to PSD, she only had one doctor in her entire childhood, and that realized that her problem was holistic related and not so much medical, and couldn't give her parents any referrals. So after going into the medical field later in life, she began to realize that patients that she worked with could have benefited from the ancient healing modalities. I love this. In combination with their current treatment, but she couldn't convince the healthcare team that it worked. But in 2014, she had a life-changing experience, which was the passing of her mother. And she realized that it was time to rediscover herself. And she discovered then the healing, the energy healing, and her life improved in ways that she couldn't put into words. Now, Dusya, I'm just kind of, given a little chunk there, but in your own words, if you could just explain, because you said you're a holistic teacher, a holistic coach. Tell us a little bit about
holistic life coach. So what that entails is that I do a combination of everything, sort of. I implement coaching, life coaching, because my clients, I don't just do energy healing on them or perform energy healing. I also listen to their story, like their situation, and share with them my perspective, like from an outside perspective, and say, okay, this is what I'm hearing, and this is what it sounds like you need. And then the energy healing comes in. It can be angel healing, Reiki, whatever I'm sensing that they need. And with that, I also use my intuition, but I just implement those two to help the clients. And then it goes in further that I start working on their reconnecting with their inner child. So because a lot of us, and I learned this from my personal experience, I had to realize that a lot of that was happening to me as an adult, it was affected by things that happened in my childhood. And I noticed with my clients, anytime when they were stuck, they didn't know, why am I doing this? Why am I in this relationship? Why is my business not going as I want to? And I realized, wait a second, they are talking about something they're stuck, and it's because of something they grew up with. They learned something when they were children,
Mm.
whether it's from their parents or people who they were around, financial issues as well, like whatever their family grew up with mindset they were raised with, that affects them as adults. And so I help them by helping them reconnect with their childhood and to remember, okay, what did I want when I was a child? Why did I even get to this point? And when they reconnect with their childhood, it's like, that's what happened. This is why I'm having these ideas. That's why I feel stuck. And when they get to that point, when they have these aha experiences, they're able to have more clarity about what they need to improve in their life. They have an actual roadmap of how to increase their finances, and like all those beliefs that they had, they realize, I mean, I coached them into having compassion with themselves because they just didn't know what they don't know. And now they know better, they can improve their lives and become more successful, and even shows up in their personal life. And when they're working with their clients or customers, their customers can feel this confidence in them. And this confidence is like, it's like a virus. Like their clients, their customers, they get this, it's like this confidence transforms also the customers, and even the customer, it's like they're paying it forward. Like they share this confidence and this joy that they experience as clients with their own friends and families. And I love that.
That's beautiful. And I could tell you as well, I'm going to talk to Rachel and then we're going to come back because I've got stuff to talk to you about. When you talk about the childhood healing, oh my gosh. So Rachel, let's talk about what you do because I feel so bad. I had so much on Dusya, so it was easy to talk about, what she does. Tell us about you. Tell us a little bit about you, what you do, your business, and how you got started.
Sure thing. And thank you, Adrienne. Don't feel bad. I don't know what happened to my bio, but I was here to say what's happening today. I'm on the leading edge of myself. And I loved hearing what Dusya said because there's definite connections between her and I in terms of my entrepreneurial journey, my spiritual journey, working with people. So for many years, I was a public school teacher and I loved that to some degree. I mean, kids can be crazy. and and then when I had my own first child, I was going to be a stay-at-home mom and a homesteader and crafty. But it was right after my mom had passed away, almost same time as yours. Mine was in 2013, Dusya. And I started having a lot of reflection of my own life going on. And a few months into being a stay-at-home mom, I realized I don't like this. And there were people telling me, you're so lucky. I love what you get to do. And I'm thinking, well, I worked for this. I made this happen by good choices and saving and all these things. But now that I'm here, it's not what I want. And so I believe that we can always renew ourselves. We can always start over. We can change direction. And that's one of the things that I help people with a lot. And so at that point, I changed direction. I started freelancing. I had a background in organic agriculture, organic gardening. So I was a garden coach on the side for a couple of years. And it was really exciting. But as I continued forward, I realized that a lot of the people who I was working with, they wanted my permission to begin and to explore and to make mistakes and for plants to die and for things to work out almost as much as they needed the knowledge that I had. And I felt my own calling within telling me, you need to work with more than just people who like growing strawberries and lettuce and green beans. And so I've always been very intuitive. So I followed that. And so I started more broadly doing life coaching. And I initially started out, I just put out the word with everyone I knew. I was like, buy me a cup of coffee and I'll coach you for an hour. And immediately a few people said yes. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And the first person that I worked with, I'm helping her based on a lifetime practically of personal development, spiritual development, just what I knew. Like I felt like I had things to offer, and my soul was telling me, show up and, you know, help people. And as she was talking, I started connecting certain dots, and I was like, I think you're telling me about a past life experience, and I think about this, and I think that, and she had an epiphany moment in our session, and so that made me realize, okay, my intuition is leading me where I need to go. And I don't always work with people on their intuition, although I think that's one of the things that a lot of coaches, mentors, counselors, all the people who help us to grow and expand and become, you know, more full expressive versions of ourselves, they're helping us to connect with that wisdom within, and that intuition. And I also love what Dusya said about connecting to our childhood, the inner child, the things that we love, and the self-compassion. I definitely, in my work, that comes up a lot too, because if you don't love yourself, or if you can't feel compassionate for yourself, it's hard to make a change. If you're beating yourself up about, well, here I am, I guess I better stay here.
It's sad when they think that some people are so not connected with themselves. And, you know, as far as loving and caring about themselves. And I have to tell every time I do these shows, I'm always amazed at the connections. So you guys have already connected about the inner child, but I got to tell you, that is a major focal point of my life. I was raped at 18 months old, and I've been in extensive therapy most of my life. I mean, I'm almost 60 now, so I'm over it, but I've got, you know, my early years, like my 30s and 20s, it really took up a lot of space for me. The emotional part of what occurred, because it was like a recurring movie. So every day you had the same movie. I've watched that movie a million times. I don't want to watch it anymore. But imagine from 18 months, it's your first memory that I can, that I really remember so distinctly. Like I can remember the room, the smell in the room, what it felt like, you know, everything. And so it was that first memory so young, and it extended into victimhood, you know, over a course of time. But I was always a fighter, thank goodness. And I pulled myself out of the ghetto, which I was, you know, born on the poorest street in America, in a poor city in America. But I managed to go to the suburbs and live with my grandmother. And it's one thing upon another, how we build upon it, but the childhood, you know, coming out of the foster system, being on the welfare, because my grandmother had to get welfare. My mother was put in a mental hospital. I mean, it's so much. I mean, it's amazing. But it shows also what we can overcome. But the reason I brought it up is the one thing I remembered for years, and thank goodness I got therapy in my 30s, or I'd be crazy now. But I used to hear children are meant to be seen, not heard.
Oh my gosh. Me too.
Yes. And I mean, and I'll tell you how far I took it, because our subconscious mind doesn't really know what it's really hearing. So children are meant to be seen, not heard. How did it play out? I had a speech impediment. I had to get speech therapy. Now look what I do with it. Yes. I'd be my nemesis, right? But I used to talk like this all the time. You know, no one knew what I was talking about. I could not speak well. And then I blew up to 500 pounds. I was so obese. I was severely morbidly obese. So that whole children are meant to be seen, not heard, got taken to the furthest extent that it should ever be taken to. So, I mean, now I know I can be seen, I can be heard. I don't have to be 600 pounds, you know, 500 pounds. And, you know, we get to that place, but poor children, if they don't get that knowledge early, it follows you all your life. you know, if you're molested, someone thinks they're touching a
Yes.
kid, it's only going to stick with them for that day. No, it sticks with them forever, especially if it was painful or they didn't
Yeah.
get support or whatever.
Mm.
So, I mean, any work that you're doing with the inner child, that kind of healing. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I feel like hopefully we're sending waves out that are changing the
Oh.
future moving forth, you know,
Yes.
because like the two of us heard this children should be seen and not heard. And I remember when I was a kid, I was like, well, okay, I talked a lot. So that didn't shut me up. Instead, I was like, this does not compute. This does not compute. And I'm like, no, like I'm going to talk.
I love it.
But at a certain point, I did dim my light some.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we're working with adults, or I mean, maybe some of you work with kids, but it's like, we're healing those inner children. And then I'm hoping that the next generation is going to be like, well, nobody has to heal me in that way. So let's do some other fun stuff.
I mean, we have to be honest, children are a whole different breed now.
Oh,
they're so savvy and wise and smart, and they'll call CPS on you if something happens. I mean, they'll just go to school and tell. I mean, it's a whole different world than it was then. And I think more parents are aware that there are things really happening, whereas before I don't think they were paying attention. Like, you know, no one's going to think your cousin or your uncle or whoever is going to do these things. And so this is the kind of stuff that happens all across America. There's so many hidden, you know, young wounded children that are inside of grown people right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm sure you probably come across this a lot, Dusya. You know,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I work like last, I don't know, was it a month ago? I can't remember exactly. Like I had a client reach out to me. I'm in the United States in Massachusetts, and this person is in Canada, and she reached out to me about feeling stuck. And it appeared that she was having issues in her childhood. Like, yeah, she was, it happened, the same thing happened to her as happened to you, Adrienne. She was just a little older, and she was struggling with chronic health issues afterwards. She was not like, there was somebody in her family who did this to her, and her entire family, they either knew about or were not allowed to talk about, or something along the line. And so it was so hard. And with her, it was just so heartbreaking. I mean, she's not dealing with this anymore, and she wanted, like she said, I forgive everybody, but I want to be able to heal, because I'm not healed. I know that. And I was able to help her, like doing the reconnecting with her inner child, like find out, okay, what the little girl want? And I was able to work with her. And you know, she didn't talk much as a child. Like people probably even ignored her. And I have to say, for me, like in my childhood, I was very quiet. I was a very quiet child. Although there were some adults around me who said, Dusya, so well, like they would ask me questions because they want like have a conversation with me. My late father, on the other hand, he was completely different. I was not allowed to say no. I was not allowed to say a word. Like he was, I mean, I don't want to put a religion into here, but he was like, I'm God. That's how he treated me and my mother and everybody around. Like his word was the law.
Yeah.
And I would start crying a lot. I was crying a lot as a child. I was like, I mean, you could probably call me whiny baby or something. That was because I did not know how to express myself. I felt like I can't even put into words, but I felt like I couldn't say no. I was not allowed to say no. I couldn't say no, this is wrong, or why are you doing this? I couldn't, I didn't have a language. Like it was like if I had hands, they were tied together in a knot, and they're not, because I wasn't allowed to move them. That's how I felt with my voice.
Wow.
And it took me years, like even in high school, when I was in school, my teacher would wonder what was going on until they met my father. But it took me years, especially for my own healing, to get to the point where I could say, hey, I'm Dusya, this is who I am. I mean, it took me years, and doing this inner child work, even for me, it helped me a lot in so many ways. But
It's amazing. Inner child work, it's amazing.
Yes, it helps you just free yourself.
It really does, truly. I, rest in peace. But there was a hypnotist. I loved him. Scott, Scott Bob. He was like voted the #1 hypnotist a few years back. And when my ex ghosted me, I was devastated because it was like 2 weeks after our second anniversary. And I had lost a baby and I'm in my 50s. So there's not going to be another one, and it was devastating. But this man, he gave me several rounds of hypnosis. One of them was to heal the inner child. And I just remember there was this thing where we met across a bridge and we gathered all these different parts of my childhood. So not just one, but all the different me's that had been hurt at different stages of life. And we gathered and we hugged each other.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I almost get teary. And it was just whatever he was walking me through. And then I was free to let them go, to let them, after that. And it really did change my life. I felt like ever since then, those little hurt people are okay now. They got hugged, they got loved. Do you find that this happens for people when you're doing your work? Either one of you, if you want to jump in on this, Rachel, that if you can get them to that place where they acknowledge that child or that pain or.
Yeah, and I'll be brief because I want to hear what Dusya has to say too. Dusya, I might have just said your name wrong. What I find is when we have these things that we need to address that need to be healed, it's taking up energy and attention. And some of the time, like we want to move forward, we want to do things, start a new relationship or go back to school or start a entrepreneur side venture. But if we're too busy, and I don't think it's a conscious thing, but subconsciously, unconsciously, there's all these things that we have to tend to. We don't have full energy for all of these other things. And I get tingles just thinking about anytime I do a healing for myself or for other people that I'm working with. I feel what happens for me is like the energy just comes in and I feel like I could work for 10 days straight without sleeping. I mean, I don't, but that's what it feels like. It's just energizing. And when it happens with the client or they, break through a limiting belief, all of a sudden it's like, wow, I feel energized. I feel free. I can move forward with happiness and excitement. And I'm getting tingles just thinking about it.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yes. I so resonate with that, Rachel. Like every time when I do healing touch with my clients, I even learn something about myself that I didn't realize. I have my own aha experiences. And with my clients, like I mentioned, the client who I had who's in Canada, after that inner child session that we had, and she finally got the clarity about what was happening in her life, in her childhood. She told me that after the session was over, she felt like a huge lift, like something really heavy was weighed off of her. Like she was like there was like some kind of like a rock or something heavy on her, and like after and she said her head felt so much lighter after so many years. It was like it's just amazing for her, and and I agree again during the inner child sessions. Like I love it. Like in the beginning, I would guide a person during the inner child session, but I said I just want to observe this and just embrace the beauty that happens when the clients reconnect with their inner child. Like the inner child, they have this conversation, and then it's like and the same thing as with Adrienne. The same thing happens in my sessions. My clients then have a conversation. They hug their inner child, and it's just so beautiful. Like I even encourage them just to imagine, like even giving a rose to your inner child, and vice versa, just to like show your appreciation for each other. And this way you see, I love you and I care about you, and then they're united, and then every hurt that was there is like this little child saying, I'm okay now.
Yeah.
It's all good now. You can move on. And hearing that is just, and then my clients say, I just heard I can move on, and I actually feel like I can do that, and I want your congratulations. Can't do that. So I say, yes, thank you, great, yes. I just give this space and then thank you for allowing me to be present.
It's beautiful. And I feel like when you guys are talking about moments like that, when you're able to tap into a certain pain or concern of a client, and you know that you just unlock something in them. Like before you met, it was locked, but after you know it's unlocked now. So the possibility for fixing that is really there now. And that is a beautiful experience, and probably one of the best experience we get as healers. Really. So Rachel, tell me a little bit about your business. Do you have any type of program or any type of promo or anything you like to share so that people know what's going on right now, how they can get a hold of you and
what's going on? Yeah. The music at the beginning, I feel like we're partly
I'm gonna put it on before we go
party.
I always like to party on and party off.
I love it. So I work with people one-to-one, but I also like to do programs because I think it's the teacher in me coming back up, like, come on, let's do a group thing. And I mean, just like us in conversation, more than one person is there, different ahas and epiphanies and moments come up than if it's just two people working together. So I have a program that I release periodically that's called Nourish Your Soul with Nature. And it's all about observing and connecting to the natural world and reading the signs of the natural world, and in a way using the natural world as like an oracle for your life. And it's really fun. And it's a 3-week short program to get your toe in the water. And because I feel like I want to empower people to get the tools that they need and then go off and see how they like to do it themselves. And so at this point, all of my programs are short. I have another one that I'm in the process of developing right now that's all about unearth your inner optimist. And it's a little bit of inner child fun stuff, because what I know, and science backs this up, and I feel like it's true in personal development and spiritual development, when we're feeling more optimistic and positive, we can bring that energy to things more. And, of course, it doesn't mean we don't pretend like bad things aren't happening. And I don't, it's not a spiritual bypassing or anything like that. It's more like having a regular way of cultivating a positive outlook and a positive mindset. But, on days that I don't feel good, I don't force myself to be like, I'm so positive. I do what needs to be done. I tend to the sadness if that's what's happening. And so those are my 2 programs. And this weekend, actually, I'm doing a free workshop. It's kind of like a little taste for the Unearth Your Inner Optimist program. And where I'm going to teach people a little bit of 101 of manifesting and how to use our mind, just the way that it's wired and our language to create more magic, energy, and action in your life.
Oh, you got to give me a link to that, girlfriend.
Okay. If you sign up at my website, soulpioneer.com, I'll send the email. But yeah, I can give you the link so we can put that with this.
In fact,
and that's a free workshop.
Yeah, make sure you put the link in chat, because that way I can have all of that right in chat.
Yes.
And because that's a good one. I want to share that on this. So my YouTube followers, they will have a chance to come and follow you and come and join you.
Oh, yes.
Everyone wants to know about manifestation. Yeah, we all want to know about the manifestation.
And I have a little bit of a different way of teaching it than I feel like some other people teach it. Just my own spin, because I just got to do things my own way.
There are so many manifestation programs out there, but not all of them work.
True.
And it's like you got to vibrate with the person who's teaching it.
Yes.
So if it
that
makes
gives me
sense,
chills.
then it goes in. You know, it's
Absolutely.
so I love it. I love it, and I am definitely really going to join you on that. When if I'm not busy, I'm there. So
Yeah.
so Dusya, let's see. Tell us how people can find you and get involved in you with you, and what promos or programs that you got going.
Sure. So you can easily find me on Facebook. I have a Facebook page and Instagram. You can just look up my name and you'll find me. My Facebook page is Dusya's Miracle Energy Healing, and on Instagram it's just my name. Also, my you can also find my YouTube videos and my website also on Instagram, which is now Dusya's Miracle Reiki. And I'm doing now 2 programs, which I got a little bit like encouragement to try out. So the 2 programs are both related to inner child sessions. One is a 4-week program for one-on-one sessions, where we do inner child work like every week, related to whatever topic you want to cover during the inner child sessions. And it's just like a 4-week program, and after that, if you need like 2 more sessions, no problem. In between, you just like do journaling just to see like what the or like accountability project. And the other one is, this is going to blow your mind / shock you. I am I am doing a free, so as well, a 4-week. I'm doing free meditation workshops as well for groups. So so one for one-on-one, another for groups. Because I know that there are a lot of people, like sometimes they have financial issues, or they just want, or they don't want to do one-on-one, they want a group session. So I do like, it can be a live, like we can do a Zoom thing, no problem with me. And what I do is we're going to just do it in meditative state. Even if you're not someone who meditates, no worries at all. You can just close your eyes and I just guide you with my words. I just guide you to the session. And it's all about imagination, all just visualizing or feeling, hearing, whatever works is all good. And I just guide you to the session, reconnecting with your inner child, soul retrieval. And again, every week, and then in between those weeks, there'll be a Q&A. You can ask questions, whatever comes to your mind. You can also journal as well. In between, journal every experience, anything that stands out to you, anything that you're like, oh, that's interesting. And you can even ask questions during the Q&A, and we could talk about it. And there's no problem. Those 2 promotions are there, and I'll be happy to post them. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yes, definitely make sure I add the links for those, because that sounds amazing. So I want to make sure that I covered everything. So Rachel, is there any last thing that you would like to say that you haven't had a chance to say? Anything at all? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. This is your last chance, ma'am.
I always have people do that last moment, like, okay, I want to make sure you get it out.
Yeah,
it is.
Well, that's good, because sometimes people are like, but I forgot that one fun thing.
Yes, I've been in situation like you were like, what, and it's gone. And they shut it down. So I want to make sure that you guys both get a chance to express that. And in the meantime, I'm going to do something I do at the end of all of my calls. I'm going to guess what sign you are. I'm seeing. So as you're talking, I've been looking and thinking. We'll see. Dusya, you're a hard one. I'm telling you right now. Because she's all over the place. She's so eccentric. I'm thinking this is an Aquarius here, but then I'm thinking it could be a Capricorn.
Or maybe, yeah, because there's the holistic. I would have no clue about guessing either one of you.
I mean, it could be anything, because look at the grin, though. That's a Gemini grin. Okay, so tell me what's going on. What's going on?
I'm a Capricorn.
She's a Capricorn, and now right away. Because look at her. She's dark, the eyebrows. But she's got such a great smile. And you know what? Because that darn moon's in Capricorn right now. That's what it is. It threw me off.
Oh, well.
She has such a great smile. I wonder what her rising is. That's so great. And let's see, Rachel, you're coming
Okay.
off a lot more. You might be one too, but you're coming off way more summary than that. I keep getting Gemini or Cancer vibes, maybe even a Leo or Virgo. What are you?
Well, I'm a Scorpio, but here's the crazy thing. I feel like I should have been a Leo.
I feel the Leo. Oh my God. Even look at around the neck. Look at that. Is that gold? Is that gold that you got? Or is that yes. Yes.
And it's thinking, like, I don't have much Leo in my chart, but I'm always like, every so often I'll get my chart done again. And I'm like, there's not more Leo in there?
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing that you are a Scorpio. And I'm wondering, do you know what your rising sign is?
My rising is Cancer. So maybe you're picking up on that.
Oh, that might be what it is. You might have progressed into Leo. It probably has progressed into Leo rising.
Maybe. I've always been an overachiever.
Really? Yeah.
For better or worse.
And sometimes we carry the other sign in the first house. So you might have Cancer on the point of the ascendant, but inside the first house might have some Leo in there too.
Yeah. My Jupiter is in Leo. So maybe that's why it's
that's also
like
in the first house. You're very sunny. And it's so weird, the juxtaposition between your lightness and Dusya's like almost darkness. And that's the Capricorn and probably whatever, like you said, Capricorn Cancer. There we are, the opposite. There it is. Right there. So that's see that. It's so funny how they all tie in together. But natural partners, I would say you guys probably could do something together. And
I know, I was thinking that too.
By the way, I have an emotional healing program I just released. I got one of the things I'm going to cover is healing the inner child. I'm going to do 4 weeks live, and then there's also a master course that you could take independently. So I'm giving people choices, but I want to make sure that happens, because what happened for me is I get people that come to me for astrology, right? And before I became a sacred soul light healer, sacred soul alignment practitioner, they would be there, and I could tell they were hedging, like they were waiting for me to give them some answer, some solution, some solace other than words, or, this is what the stars say, or the moon, or anything like that, or numerology, or anything. It didn't matter. They want a solution. And I thought, I've got to figure a way that when they leave me, I don't let them walk out that door in tears. I couldn't take another client walking out with tears without healing that. And now I can do that. And that is, to me, I get teared up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, you've done so much with your life. It's incredible, Adrienne. I love it.
It is amazing. Yeah. Sometimes we look back on things and you think, how did I get out of that? Or how did I climb out of this? And I think it's because all of the things we go through, all of our journeys, they're meant for us for a reason. Like it's to help build our story. And to build our integrity and our strength and our courage. And, and now when people come to me and the work I do, like I said, sometimes people come and they're in tears because they've got a life-changing decision that has to be made or something like that. A lot of times it's love, right? So I had a really bad marriage, and I can now talk to people on that level about that situation. And it's amazing, when I was going through it, I had no idea that, it's painful to me, but it could become the catalyst to helping other people, because now I know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I love how it opens up our compassion and ability to empathize with other people when we have healed it. And I'm sure it's nice because you can be like, bad marriage, I got you. Just come on in and let me help you.
Yeah, narcissistic abuse, I got you. Alcoholic, yeah, we got this. So it's amazing, because sometimes I guess we all see it when we're helping others, but sometimes the solution is so simple and it's right there, and it almost seems too simple, but they can't see it because they're in the pain.
I know. Yeah. It's like they're so overwhelmed and they just can't, like, there's just like they're like their minds all over the place. They did like either that kids, work, and whatever else, and then when you just present them something that's actually literally right in front of their eyes, they're like, I did not even think of that. That's what
I
I'm
love
here for,
that.
I guess.
I just love that you take them back to the child, because I
Mm,
think when we can get back to that feeling of, I was it expectation, like, you know, the child, the
mm,
within us, we believed, we had faith and
yes.
courage, and
Mm-hmm.
we did things like cross over creeks on a branch or something,
Mm.
because we believed, we had that kind of
Yes.
faith. And
Mm-hmm.
life knocks it out of you one step
Mm-hmm.
at a time, one bad
Yeah.
experience at a time. So by
Mm-hmm.
taking people back to their childhood, you might take them back to the one time when they
Mm-hmm.
had faith or belief or strength
Yes.
or courage or hope,
Yes.
dream.
Yes. It's
The
about
Yeah.
helping
beautiful thing.
empower them. Yeah.
Yeah, you can empower them from there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you have to go back to there to build them back up to now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And we all have that inside of us, you know, and it's like somebody could work with any one of us, or maybe they just
Mm-hmm.
binge on YouTube videos and get there, you know,
yeah.
any of that, it can be the doorway to reconnecting with that faith and that child and that
Mm-hmm.
enthusiasm for life.
It's beautiful. It really is.
Yes.
I want to congratulate both of you for doing the work that you do, and
Oh.
all the lives that you're able to touch with the work that you do. Keep doing the work that you do. Okay. So let's party on out. Let's party on out of here, because we like that party music, and that's the
Oh,
way I
yes.
like to do it. So I love it, you guys. Thank you so much for coming today. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I like my little theme song too. It's got a good beat.